Fox Sports.
We are Fox Sports. We are KINSLER.
Tigers baseball on Fox Sports Detroit is presented by
BELTRE.
Tonight in downtown Detroit, the Tigers will try and get back on track. It is a beautiful night for baseball here in the Motor City as Fox Sports Detroit presents Game 2 in this series featuring the visiting Texas Rangers and your Detroit Tigers. Hi again, everyone, and welcome to Tigers Baseball. Mario and Peppa, Ron Allen, we are glad to have you with us here for Game 2 in the series. And Rod, it's a 4-game skid right now for the Tigers. Certainly they want to try and find a way to get back to their winning ways, but baseball, as you like to say, could be a funny game.
I guess we can stop printing those World Series tickets right now, but all kidding aside, this is the big leagues. On any given day, you can get beat by the opponent out there. The Tigers have seen that the last 4 days. But what the Tigers have to do, they got to pitch better. They've been getting out-pitched during this 4-game losing streak. Once Anibal gets out there and pitches well, they should get back to their winning ways.
All right, let's talk about Anibal Sanchez. He will get the start tonight for the Tigers. His first start back from the disabled list against the Boston Red Sox. What did you see out of Anibal last Sunday?
Well, first of all, he handled the situation perfectly. He was pitching in very hostile environment anytime you pitch in Beantown. But you have to love his skill set. He's got that fastball up in the upper 90s. He also has the good curves, the changeup, and the slider, and he threw 80 pitches in this contest. They'll get him up to 85, 90, maybe 100 today. He's got that real good changeup he throws in fastball counts. I expect him to go out there today and really slow down this Texas Rangers offense, which has really started to perk up, and they really need him to do that because 4 games in a row is a little bit much, and they play really well here at home. So hopefully they can win this ball game tonight.
All right, after a short break, we'll send you back to the Coliseum Studios. Check in with Trevor Thompson. Tonight, the Tigers trying to snap that 4-game streak. Tigers Rangers Game 2 dancing your way next. the 2014 campaign back here at Comerica Park on a nice night for baseball. The Tigers and the Texas Rangers here in Game 2 in this 4-game series. Here's the lineup he will face tonight, presented by the Metro Detroit Chevy dealers. Leonis Martin will lead it off. He'll play in center field. Elvis Andrus, the shortstop. Shin-Soo Choo in his last 5 games has been hot. He's in left field. Beltre, Rios, and Moreland also in the middle of the lineup. Michael Choice, Robinson, Chirinos, and Rougned Odor batting 9th and playing second base. And Anibal Sanchez getting set to go to work now against the leadoff man, Leonis Martin. Tigers dropped the opening game of the series yesterday 9-2 and hoping for better things here tonight. First pitch of the ball game is outside to Martin. 1 ball and no strikes. Gorgeous night here at the ballpark. Martin batting .288. As you can see, hot in his last 6, however, over 400, and he looks at a ball outside, 2-0. Tigers now at 27-16 overall this year. The Rangers check in tonight at 23-24. There's a strike on the outer edge, 2-1. Sanchez, a 14-game winner last year, the ERA champ. That is bunted foul. The count evens now 2-2.
Those 14 wins last year for Anibal Sanchez, a career high. And of course, he also won the earned run average title in the American League.
This year off to a 1-2 start, but his ERA a sparkling 2.89. Now Sanchez was starting his windup, but Martin steps out. He is playing in center field tonight. Here's the 2-2, and it's bounced to the right side. Cabrera has it in fair territory, tags the bag for the out, 1 gone. Here are the numbers on Sanchez, presented tonight by Family Heating, Cooling, and Electrical.
Anibal Sanchez is making his second start since coming off the disabled list 5 days ago. He pitched in very hostile environment in Boston, and he did well. Sanchez has the fastball in the mid-90s. He has outstanding secondary pitches, the curveball, the slider, and the change, and he'll throw those pitches in any count.
2.98 ERA career in the month of May. Here's Elvis Andrus. Rangers jumped on the Tigers early yesterday. They got 2 in the second, 3 in the third, and then 4 in the fourth, and never looked back. Andrus in the ball game last night, or yesterday, was 1 for 4, but he's struggling of late, only 4 for his last 23.
You always wonder about a club like the Texas Rangers that has a very good offense, but came in struggling with the bats really all season long. You knew sooner or later they would wake up, and they did last night against the youngster Robbie Ray.
Yeah, they had 14 hits in the ball game yesterday. Here's the 1-1 pitch. Chopper foul, third base side. 1 ball and 2 strikes on Elvis Andrus. Ron Washington has had to deal with a myriad, and I mean a myriad, of injuries this year.
They have 13 members on their disabled list right now.
Think about that, 13. And some big-time names. The latest, of course, Prince Fielder, who he busted him inside with a fastball that missed.
Ron is the perfect manager for a situation where there's a little stress, though. He was in his clubhouse today. He was in a great mood, and he gets his guys ready to play every single day, despite who might be missing from their current roster.
Back in there for Sanchez, missed again, 3-2.
93 with that last fastball thrown by Sanchez. He can get up to 97 whenever he wants to.
Full count on Elvis Andrus. And he grounds it foul behind home plate.
3 consecutive fastballs in the low 90s on the inside part of the plate to Elvis Andrus, who hit his second home run of the season just a couple of days ago at home in a ball game against the Seattle Mariners.
Swing and a miss. Down he goes.
It's that slide piece.
First strikeout of the ball game for Sanchez.
And it was a good one. 3 straight fastballs inside. Andrus looking inside. He comes back with a real good slider and buries it down and away from Elvis Andrus. Beaumont Health System will sponsor the Tigers starting defensive alignment here today. 2 double plays yesterday, 12 multi-double play games already this season for the Tigers defensively. They've been playing pretty good baseball these days.
Middle of the Tigers diamond features KINSLER and ROMINE, and they can both go get it. There's a strike called right at the knees of Shin-Soo Choo. Batting with 2 outs and the base is empty. Choo is 4 for 11 in his career against Sanchez. A little bit of history between these two. Shin-Soo was 1 for 3 yesterday with a homer. Knocked in a couple of runs. It was his 6th home run of the season. Now the 1-1. Bouncing ball to second, right at KINSLER. That'll be an easy play. And an easy 1-2-3 inning for Aníbal Sanchez. Let's go to the bottom of the first. Rajai Davis in the leadoff slot tonight for the Tigers. The lineup presented by the Southeast Michigan Ford dealers, and he'll be followed by KINSLER and Miguel Cabrera. Victor Martinez, the DH. Torrey Hunter is batting 5th tonight for the first time against a right-handed pitcher this year. Jackson is in center field. Avila, Castellanos, and Andrew Romine rounded out for Brad Ausmus, and they are facing the veteran right-hander Scott Baker.
You see his numbers in Round Rock AAA for the Texas Rangers. 6 starts, 4-1 record, so he's pitching very well down there. The Tigers know Scott Baker from his Minnesota Twins days. Fastball up in the strike zone, about 90-91, over-the-top curveball, changeup, and a slider.
So Davis, who bats .274 in the leadoff spot, .264 in the number 9 spot, has been a little bit better.
Good numbers against Baker, and that's probably the main reason why Brad Ausmus is leading him off here today. Brad would not say that during the course of his meeting with the media today, but the numbers kind of speak for themselves.
Baker working quickly. The 1-1 is popped up foul.
That is something that Baker has always done. A few of these Tigers will have to slow him down today if he wants to continue this kind of pace in between pitches.
Baker's been around now. He's had to undergo Tommy John surgery, so that kind of derailed his career. It was a career that had some success early with the Minnesota Twins. He's 32 years old. Bouncing ball, base hit right field. Rajai Davis is on. That's a good start.
And while we have a moment, I'd like to set the Texas Rangers starting defensive alignment for you. It is always presented by Tim Hortons. Chirinos behind the plate. He didn't catch in last night's game, but he's got some electricity in his arm. 11 runners caught stealing already this year, which is the most in the majors.
Chris Gimenez caught yesterday, had a 4-hit game, but he's not playing today.
Tough league, isn't it?
It is indeed.
Davis won't stay over at first base very long. He'll try to get in the scoring position for the middle of this batting order.
Well, for Rajai, 14 steals, trails only Altuve of the Astros, who has 16 steals.
He was already on the move on that very first pitch, but he slipped. Ron Washington, the manager of the Texas Rangers, might entertain the thought of a pitch out, but we just told you that Chirinos, the catcher behind the plate, has got a really good arm, so you don't have to give him much help.
Rajay still trying to dig in down there at first base. Kinsler looks at a strike.
Tigers come into tonight's game leading the American League with 38 stolen bases in 43 games. 38 and 43. They stole all of 35 bases the entire season last year.
The main reason why is the guy at first base right now.
He's got 14 of them.
The 0-1 is swung on and missed. Throw back to first. And they got him.
Oh, my goodness. He must have blocked the plate, Moreland. I mean, blocked the bag, Moreland.
Either that or he overslid the bag getting back because it looked like he beat the throw.
Chirinos. Oh, my goodness.
Well, he said he had a good arm. Not afraid to show it off, throwing behind the runner.
Rajay got out there too far, and it was too late. Oh, he never got to the bag. Good call.
Phantom cam with a bird's eye view. Never touched the bag. So the bases are empty now. Chirinos making his presence felt early in this game. Kinsler sends it in the air to center field. Martine coming in, looking into the sunlight. 2 outs. We'll bring up Miguel Cabrera. Since 2011, you can see the numbers there against the Rangers. Incredibly over 400 against Texas pitch.
Yeah, that batting average right there is the highest for any active player. Miggy has done major damage against Ranger pitching.
The OPS is quite outstanding as well for Cabrera. A little bit outside, 1 ball to no strikes.
Baker, when he was throwing a little bit harder earlier in his career when he was with the Minnesota Twins, he used to like to elevate the fastball to get swings and misses, but he could throw about 95 at that point in time. No longer does the velocity with the fastball get up to 95, so he tries to work on the edges inside and outside, and he needs to keep the ball down the bottom of the knees.
Average fastball velocity for Baker in his days with the Minnesota Twins, a little bit higher with that fastball. Had good numbers with the Twins. That's in for a strike. 2-1 on Cabrera. And he's got a little chat going now with Ed Hickox about that last call, apparently.
Miggy said it was high. Ed Hickox said no. Miggy said okay. As a hitter, really all you want to know is what the strike zone is going to be on any given night.
Ground ball, third base side. Beltre has it there. That'll be it for the Tigers. No runs, 1 hit, nobody left. On our way to the second. Negro Leagues weekend here at the ballpark today, and our own Rod Allen was part of a pregame ceremony of passing the bat, which has become something they've done every year here. And that must have been cool to be part of today.
Oh, no doubt. It was pretty cool. A long day today, but it was a very productive day. Also, the Legends Luncheon in the Tiger Club very early this afternoon. And it's an honor to be on the field and just kind of pass the bat around and kind of give back to what's been given to you.
Sanchez missing up and in. 1 ball to no strikes on Beltre. Dazon Cole was the young man you saw at the end of that shot, and he's going to play his college ball at Central Michigan University. Highly rated player here in the state of Michigan. Hard hit ball that is through into left field, and Beltre has a leadoff single.
Adrian Beltre got off to a really slow start this year for the Rangers, but he is starting to heat up. One thing we do know about Beltre, the 1 year he spent in Boston and the 3 years in Texas, he's been outstanding against Tigers pitching. There's Dave Magadan, former Boston Red Sox hitting coach who did marvelous work with the Boston Red Sox, now and the hitting coach for the Texas Rangers.
First base runner of the ball game for the Rangers. That'll bring up Alex Rios. Ball low and away to Rios. 5-game hitting streak now. He had a pretty good game yesterday, although he's hitless in his career against Sanchez.
And told you the Tigers are a pretty good team at turning the double play this year. If Rios should hit something on the ground sharply, no doubt they'll be able to turn it over.
Rios 2 out of 5 with a double and an RBI in yesterday's game. He sits safely now in 11 of his last 13, so he has picked it up. Sanchez ready with the 1-1. Little looper into right field. That's going to drop. Base hit. Meanwhile, Beltre is on his way to third. Rios headed to second. He will slide in with a bloop 2-base hit. And the Rangers are in business here in the second. A little bit of tough luck there for Sanchez.
Looked like he made a decent pitch, and it appeared that Rios hit the ball right off the end of the bat. He sure did. And just kind of sliced it into shallow right field. And by the time that Torrey Hunter was able to get there and pick it up, stand up double for Rios, and Adrian Beltre running from first got a nice read on it. He was able to scoot all the way over to third.
11th double of the year now for Rios, which ties him with Elvis Andrus for the team lead. Here's Moreland now. Mitch Moreland playing first base, and with the news today coming that Prince Fielder is done for the rest of the year with neck surgery, Moreland now figures to get a lion's share of playing time at first base. They actually had him playing some outfield earlier this year. Batting .275, couple of home runs. Moreland was one of the few Rangers that was hitless in yesterday's game. Although he did reach on a walk and an error in a couple of his at-bats. Here's the 1-0. 2-0 now in Moreland. Sanchez made his last start on Sunday. That was in Boston. He had been sidelined since April the 27th. You might remember that start he was making in Minnesota, and he suffered that blister, which was called a finger laceration. Sliced in the air to center field and hit well. Jackson is on the run, still on his horse, can't get it. Beltre will score. Right behind him is Rios. He will come in to score, and Moreland has a double off the center field wall to make it 2-0 Texas. 3 straight hits for the Rangers here in the second.
And pretty good swing here by Moreland. It's a breaking ball that doesn't do a whole lot. It's right down the heart of the plate. And Jackson in center field was playing on the right field side of second base. And by the time he got on his horse and got after it, he wasn't able to run it down. In there for a strike on Michael Choice.
8th double of the year now for Moreland, and it was the second inning yesterday in which the Rangers were off and running with a couple of runs.
Tigers' pitching staff have been giving up quite a few extra base hits the last 5 days, starting in Cleveland.
Choice batting 196. He snapped an 0 for 14 slump with an RBI hit yesterday. Ground ball on a high hop to third. Castellanos will check the runner. Choice is out. First out of the inning. One gone. Well, let's see what's going on at the ballpark weather-wise tonight. The field conditions are presented by Ace Hardware and the Scotts Company. 70 degrees at game time. Awfully nice. It is dry, partly cloudy, and just about perfect weather for Tigers baseball. A few puffy clouds up in the sky, but otherwise no problems. Robinson Chirinos stands in. Missed it outside. 1-0. Chirinos is batting .205 and is only 4 for his last 28. Fouled back out of play. 1 ball and 1 strike.
Sanchez did not go down to the minor leagues to make a rehabilitation start after spending some time on the disabled list. He pitched in one simulated game, and then he got the ball in Boston 5 days ago, but he did okay pitching in that ballpark against that offense, which the Tigers caught cold, but he still went out there and did a very nice job while he was on the mound.
There's a ground ball hit to the right side. Righty Cabrera. Sanchez will cover and advance the runner to third with 2 outs. 3-1 in the scorebook there. Moreland takes third base. Here is Rougned Odor. Batting 179. Odor, highly thought of prospect in the Rangers system. Getting an opportunity to play with all the injuries they have had, including Jerks and Profar. Odor is only 20 years of age. In fact, he's the youngest player to appear in a big league game this year. And he sends a ground ball to second. Kinsler throws him out to end the inning. They get a couple of runs on the double by Moreland, and coming up for the Tigers, Victor Martinez will lead it off in the bottom of the second. Double, and as we go to the bottom of the second, Victor Martinez will lead it off. Here is our T-Mobile game changer, and it's going to be all about Victor. We talked about, Rod, his power surge this year. Most home runs in a calendar month for Victor.
He's had an entire really good year, and Victor's legs underneath him these days, very, very strong, very stable, and that's one of the reasons why he's hitting for a lot of power.
8 homers here in the month of May, which is more than any other month he's had. He's had some good ones. So Martinez, Hunter, Jackson, 3, 4, 5 facing Scott Baker. Playing to pull on the infield.
Just to give you an idea of the relentless worker that Victor Martinez is, Wally Joyner had several guys out taking some early batting practice before the game today, and Victor wasn't scheduled to be one of those guys, but why would he? He's leading the league in hitting. But Victor demanded that he be part of the group, and he wanted to come out and hit extra despite really having a good season. He loves to work.
And that's something that has been said often about Victor Martinez, whether it's Wally Joyner saying it, Brad Ausmus saying it. He is just a workaholic in the cage. Here's the 2-0. 3 balls, no strikes.
I don't know if I shared this story with you, but about 3 weeks ago, Victor Martinez hit a pop-up, and he didn't run it out. And he was so embarrassed that he went to to Brad Ausmus and apologized for not running out the pop-up. And he told Brad it will never, ever happen again. Brad said he didn't even notice it.
Meanwhile, Victor has taken a walk here on 4 straight pitches from Baker.
Now, that was one of those pitch sequences where Baker was not going to give him anything to hit. He had in his mind all along that he was going to walk Victor.
Our predictions for tonight's Fox Sports Detroit Tigers Player of the Game, presented by McDonald's new triple cheeseburger for only $2. Who you got tonight, Rod?
I got Anibal Sanchez making his second start off the DL.
Simo's got Nick Castellanos tonight. I'll go with Austin Jackson. Those are our picks. Torrey Hunter batting in the 5 slot, hitting .293. He's got a lot of homers against Texas in his career, 21 of them.
And Torrey Hunter, for most of this season, has been batting second against right-handed pitching, but batting a little lower in the lineup today.
Brad said before the game he went to Torrey and asked his opinion about it and said it's probably not going to be something too permanent, but we want to try it for tonight. Swing and a miss.
And the reason why Brad acknowledges the fact that Torrey Hunter the last couple of years has been one of the best 2-hitters in baseball. And the 1 year he spent in Los Angeles before being a free agent batting second, and of course all last year batting second. He hit .300 in both of those seasons.
1 ball, 2 strikes. Baker gave up a single to Davis in the first, but then he was picked off by the catcher Chirinos. And he faced only 3 batters. A leadoff walk here in the second. Tigers down by 2. Down the right field line, foul. 1-2 on Torrey Hunter. 1 for 3 in the ball game yesterday. Baker, 32 years of age. He is a native of Shreveport, Louisiana. Played his college ball at Oklahoma State. High fly ball, right center field. Hit fairly deep but playable. To the warning track goes Rios. 1 out. Time now for the Bernstein Advantage. It brings you the pitcher-batter matchup between Jackson and Baker, and Jackson has the Bernstein Advantage tonight. .455 against Scott Baker. A couple of doubles, triple. See, I pay attention to the numbers when I pick my player of the game.
I see.
Yeah, do a little homework.
I see that.
It rarely works out, though. But it's worth a shot. Jackson cuts and misses 0-1.
Jackson really hasn't been getting a lot of hits lately, but really he hasn't been swinging the bat all that poorly. He's been squaring up some baseballs, but his luck has not been very good. He's been finding the third baseman quite often with line drives. He's also hit some sharp line drives to right field for outs.
That ball's hit well, deep into left field, and there's my player of the game.
You know how to pick him, partner.
It's a 2-run shot for Jackson, and we are tied.
Just as I said, really hasn't been swinging the bat all that poorly.
Further proof. That is his 3rd home run of the year.
I don't know what it is about hitters when they know they've got great numbers against a particular pitcher, but they just go to the dish with a lot of confidence. And that looked like it was a changeup that Baker threw to Jackson that was right around the letters, and those usually do not make it to the catcher's glove. He hit that ball over the Tigers bullpen.
Yeah, he cleared it. Way back into the seats, and Jackson gets RBIs 14 and 15. And quickly the Tigers tie it up against Scott Baker. Here's Avila.
That is the one thing that Baker would always do back in his Minnesota Twins days, because he lived upstairs with his heater at about 93, 94. He would give up some gopher balls.
Yeah. Baker, not the same guy the Tigers saw in Minnesota because of the Tommy John surgery. But with Minnesota, he was 63 and 48 in his career there with the Twins. Two-run shot by Jackson. And the crowd still buzzing about it.
And maybe he will think twice about walking Victor the next time Victor comes up with nobody on base, because he clearly pitched around Victor to get to some of the other right-handers, and Jackson made him pay.
Drilled off the bat of Avila to right field. Back goes Rios, and he hauls it in.
That ball was scorched.
I'll tell you what, Avila is really starting to hit some line drives and hard hit balls.
89-mile-per-hour fastball, real short, quick, compact swing by Avila. And Rios gets back, gets turned around momentarily, but athletic enough to make the play with 1 foot on the warning track.
Pretty swing, courtesy of Phantom Cam. You were talking about Baker and the home runs that he'd given up. 28 one season.
Yeah.
With Minnesota back in 09. He has just surrendered the 2-run shot to Jackson to tie the game at 2. Castellanos looks at a strike. Castellanos yesterday 0 for 4. He has knocked in 20 this year. A little looper into left field, base hit. Nick taking the turn, and he will hold there with a 2-out single.
That is a better swing there by Castellanos on an off-speed pitch. Nick knows these days he's going to get off-speed pitches, but he's been so violent with his upper half, he's been pulling off of them. But he didn't pull off of this one. Look how he leads with the bat knob. He keeps the head down, he barrels it up, and he keeps that ball fair because the bat stayed in the strike zone an extremely long time. Earlier, he just was in the strike zone and out of the strike zone with the bat on those breaking balls.
Here's Romine. 2-out single by Castellanos, and Andrew takes outside.
And Castellanos was out taking some extra batting practice today with the hitting coach, Wally Joyner, his assistant, Darnell Coles as well. And so was Austin Jackson, and it's played huge dividends so far in this game.
Now the 1-0. 2-0 on Romine. Baker, a leadoff walk to Martinez, a 1-out homer to Jackson. Austin's 3rd of the year. Bouncing ball to short, and bobbled there by Andrus. It's not in time at second base. Elvis Andrus on what appeared to be a routine ground ball. Here comes Ron Washington now, and they may want to see if that throw actually did beat the runner. The initial call was safe.
If the call holds up, it will be an error on Elvis Andrus, and it will be error number 8. And from the shortstop position already this year.
So Washington turns around, heads back to the bench. Let's take another look. It's more of a glove flip to second base than a throw. Pretty close.
Really close play. I'm surprised he didn't really challenge that.
No. Jeff Gosney was right there, made the call. Let's see. Ooh. So the E6 puts runners at first and second. 1-0 the count on Rajay. Single back at the first. Batting .276. Tigers now, courtesy of the air, have a chance to grab the lead. Bouncer left side of the infield. Andrus will make this play. Throws it in the dirt, and it's picked cleanly there by Moreland. So the Tigers will get a couple of runs. They do so on a mighty swing of the bat by Austin Jackson. Third home run of the season. Tied at 2. Tigers baseball tonight presented by BELTRE. Shot. It is a 2-2 ball game now as we go to the top of the third here at Comerica. Game 2 in the series. Both ball clubs have 2 runs on 3 hits. Sanchez back to the mound. Leonis Martin will lead it off for Texas. And again he shows bunt. Looks at a strike 0-1. Martin had to come on as a defensive replacement and stayed in the game when the starting center fielder yesterday was hurt. Daniel Robertson collided with Alex Rios and suffered some fractures in his face, and so Martin, who's been being bothered by a bad neck, is pressed into duty. It is one thing after another for these Rangers, literally. The 0-2 lifted back out of play.
They made some changes in the offseason. They acquired Prince Fielder. They needed a big bat in their lineup. They had been trying to replace Josh Hamilton since he left. They also brought in Chin Asut Chu, who was an outstanding leadoff hitter, on base percentage guy to help out the offense. But all the injuries have kind of derailed that this season.
Well, there are some big names on this list. I mean, you're talking about Harrison, Holland, and Perez. And then you got Prince and Profar.
Yeah, it started with Profar in spring training. He was supposed to replace Ian Kinsler.
The 0-2. Swing and a miss.
Ooh, dirty.
Let's go back to the studio now for a game break. Trevor Thompson. All right, Trev, thanks. Here, the Tigers have tied it up on the homer by Jackson.
And the Blue Jays can hit.
Yeah, they can.
They can hit.
They play in that American League East, and sometimes you kind of get lost in all the Yankee hype and the Red Sox hype and some of the good teams they have there. Of course, Baltimore and Tampa have been good in the past.
They're in first place.
But look at that, 26 and 22. One up on the Yankees. Here's the 0-1. Hard ground ball short. Romine. Andrus retired. He's 0 for 2. It's 5 in a row retired now by Sanchez. Hey, tomorrow the Tigers face the Rangers at 4:08. It's the 20th annual Negro Leagues tribute game. The first 10,000 fans receive a Detroit Stars replica cap. If you'd like ticket information, call 866-66-TIGER or visit tigers.com. Shin-Soo Choo. Ball high and away, 1-0. Choo bounced out to second base in his first at bat. On the outer edge, 1 ball, 1 strike on Choo. Big year last year with Cincinnati. Signed a deal in the offseason to come to Texas. And be part of what they thought was going to be a really great offense until all the injuries hit.
He's done his part. His batting average is at .308. His on base percentage is at .434.
Behind in the count, 1-2. Got him, strike 3.
Great pitch.
Third strikeout for Aníbal Sanchez. A 1-2-3 third inning.
Yasiel Puig of the Los Angeles Dodgers. You might not see a better play by a corner outfielder all year long. He ran about 40 yards to get there, stretches out, makes an outstanding grab, sliding onto the warning track.
And that's one of those plays, Rod, that many times you see guys either hurt their wrists severely or break their wrists.
He has some mad skills. I mean, from a talent standpoint, he is blessed with some tremendous athleticism, but he is still learning the finer points of playing the game of baseball.
Okay. So what are you trying to say?
Well, I mean, he just does some things out there sometimes that makes you shake your head. He did that last night. He made that play.
Yeah.
But he got picked off once. I mean, he made some base running blunders.
There's a base hit down the right field line. Kinsler going to try for 2. Rios digs it up. And it's going to be a double for Ian.
Some worried about Ian Kinsler coming into this game today, going up against his former club. Well, actually, going into the game yesterday, going up against his former club, but he tried to do too much. But that's not Ian's MO. He's a big league player. He's a pro. He knows this is a business, and he's gone out and just kind of contained himself, and he's had a nice series so far.
Really has. Had a double yesterday, and here's another one tonight. Two-base hit to start things off here in the bottom of the third.
Even though Miguel Cabrera is a bona fide superstar, he will be trying to hit something through the right side of the infield to either get Kinsler home or get Kinsler to third base. And that's the thing that you admire about Miguel. Everybody talks about his power and his ability to hit, but his baseball IQ is simply off the charts. He's got this huge hole over here. He can try to shoot that hole, or he can play long ball in that direction too should Baker make a mistake.
Baker's 0-1. Well, he shoots one down the right field line, going to go to the corner. He's not only going to move him up, he's going to knock him in. Cabrera's on his way to second, and he is in with a double. Classic. Back-to-back two-base hits.
That is a thing of beauty for Miggy. And in this game, if you give to the game will give back to you. He's simply trying to do his job. He takes that fastball with tremendous concentration. He slices it down in the right field corner, and he had to get on his horse to get a two-bagger because Rios in the outfield has a really good throwing arm.
Got in there just ahead of the tag of ANDRUS. 42nd RBI of the year for Miguel.
Special player.
Martinez, a walk and a run scored.
And Victor will be trying to do the same thing. If you look at this defense, you would say to yourself, now why would Victor try to hit something into the teeth of the defense? But this is the way the game is played. Simply move the chain. Get Miggy over to third base. That's your job right now.
Low and in 1-0.
And if you're fortunate enough to drive him in the process, that's a bonus.
Martinez has driven in 28 this year. Leads the league in average and slugging percentage.
Miguel always checking the outfielders to make sure that he knows where everybody's playing.
Part of that baseball IQ that you talk about.
That's right. He's not looking for Dave Clark to help him. He's talking to Dave about that hole over there and what he should do. But at the same time, he'll turn around, look at the right fielder, he'll look at the center fielder, he'll look at the left fielder. That way on bloop singles, you know exactly whether you can move up or whether you should stay where you're at.
Meanwhile, it's 2-0 on Martinez. Tigers have broken the tie with a run here in the bottom of the third. 3-2. 2-1 now on Victor.
Victor was trying to leave earth on that last swing. But that's okay. You can do that in a 2-0 count.
Tigers fell behind 2-0 tonight, tied it up on the Jackson home run in the second, and they've taken the lead now here in the third. Little chopper slowly to the right side. Baker scoops it up. So Victor gets it done. He advances Cabrera to third, 1 out.
Victor, when he gets back to the dugout, he'll get lots of high fives from that little ground ball there to the right side of the infield.
now you can get Cabrera in with a deep enough fly ball. Mike Maddox coming out. There's that patented move by Maddox. He'll put his right hand on the shoulder of the pitcher. I mean, he's one of the few pitching coaches. That's kind of his thing.
Right.
You know, to calm the pitcher down or relax him.
Rick Peterson, a former pitching coach, used to do the same thing.
Is that right?
Yep. Part pitching coach, part psychologist. So
here's Torrey now. Trying to get the runner in from third, less than 2 outs. Batting .291. 100 fly to right field his first time up.
It looks like the Rangers are not going to pull their infield all the way in. They want to give themselves a little bit of room to maneuver should Torrey hit something on the ground. And they also don't believe Miguel Cabrera is coming on contact. That's when you see this kind of defense employed.
Torrey has been successful with a runner at third, less than 2 outs 5 out of 8 times. High fly ball, shallow left field.
He can't run on him.
Shoe's got too good of an arm. Cabrera will have to stay. 2 outs. And that will leave it up to Jackson.
As a matter of fact, this might be the best throwing trio in the American League, with Chu in left, Martine in center, and Rios in right. There may not be 3 outfielders on a team that throw as well as these 3.
Their center fielder last year, Martine, had 14 assists. He's got 17 with 3 more this year, 17 in the last 2 years.
And Chu's got a right fielder's arm playing left field.
Jackson with 2 outs. Ball 1. Tigers 3 runs, 5 hits, and the Rangers 2 runs on 3 hits. Low and away.
Well, Jackson's got real good numbers against Baker, and with the base open, Jackson has already homered in this game. Baker may be pitching around him, but Avila squared up one against him his last time up to the right field for an out, though.
Strike call, 2-1. Baker was signed by Seattle this past offseason, but he had a dreadful spring training and then was let go.
Yeah, he was hit around quite a bit.
Released at the end of spring. Here's the 2-1. Toward right field, slicing. Rios on the charge. He'll run it down. Nice running play by Alex Rios. That'll do it for the Tigers. However, they take the lead. Ian Kinsler starts it off with a double, and his buddy Miguel Cabrera drives it home. 3-2 Detroit. By Kinsler and Cabrera. Let's check in now with Lindsay Hayes, standing by with one of the newest Lions.
Hello, yes, I am standing by with reigning Super Bowl champion, also one of the newest member of the Lions, and that's Golden Tate. He's had a busy week. He was at the White House on Wednesday, President Obama honoring him in the Seattle Seahawks, and then now he's throwing out the first pitch tonight here at Comerica Park. So how did it go?
It went okay. I decided I wanted to keep it high and not low. So that was a safe, conservative bet. So I did that and made that okay.
And you also took a little BP before. You hit one out far and right. Did it go out of the park?
It went about 332 on the 330 fence. But I had a lot of fun out there. Just playing baseball. That was my first love, and it was great to be back on the diamond and swinging the bat.
And did you play a lot while you were growing up?
Yeah, that was my first love. I actually played 2 years in college, and I was drafted twice into the Diamondbacks and the Giants.
Wow. Well, I know you've only been in Detroit for a little while, but what are you now looking forward to most with your new team?
The summer, for one. I like the sun. That's always fun. But we got a great group of guys. They all want to work hard. I think this city, this organization is ready to win, and I'm hoping to help that. We got a great a group of great guys on the team, ready to work hard, and it starts with the coaching staff. Those guys are working us hard every day, and we're really excited to play football next year.
And last question, are you impressed so far with the Tigers this evening?
Absolutely. Those guys can swing the bat. I need to take some notes.
Well, welcome. You have one of the best sports cities in the country that you now can call home. So thanks for your time, guys. Back to you.
All right, Lindsay, thanks. Two sports star in Notre Dame, Golden Tate, now wearing Lions colors. Sanchez now has a lead to work with as we play here in the fourth. Beltre, the batter, has worked the count to 3-2. Beltre, Rios, Moreland here in the top of the fourth. Little looper into shallow right field, and Torrey's going to get there right in the gap. Here is that first pitch tonight. What do you think, Brad? Let's check out his form.
Well, he said he played some baseball, so I'm expecting it to be a strike. He's lefty. He sure is. Pretty good form.
And of course, Mr. Tate, a Super Bowl champion with the Seahawks. Now a member of the Detroit Lions. One out here in the fourth inning. Here is Alex Rios. Had a two-base hit back in the second. Sanchez in that inning allowed 3 straight hits, but that was it. And has really settled in now. That is 7 straight that he's retired. He can get on these rolls, can't he? I mean, sometimes you'll see Sanchez go 9, 10, 11 in a row in a game.
He's got 4 above average pitches, and he can really command his fastball as well as any right-hander in the American League. He can work all 4 quadrants of the strike zone. He can get up to 97 miles an hour. He'll throw you a really good breaking ball or change up in a fastball count. You just can't look for the same pitch consecutively against Anibal Sanchez.
He's at 50 right now in the fourth inning.
Rios is on fire.
Yes, he is. There's a bloop single to left field. That's his second hit tonight. Had 2 hits yesterday. 1 on, 1 out.
And they wanted that ball inside, and that ball did sneak inside on Rios, but he just kind of pulled his hands in front of his body and stayed behind that baseball, and he was able to hit it into shallow center field.
Here's Mitch Moreland. That was the 4th Texas hit of the night.
We talked about Chirinos, their catcher, and the fact that he's thrown out quite a few base runners already this year. Avila's done well in that regard himself.
Ooh, look out. Bat goes flying back in the seats.
Should Rios be entertaining the thought of trying to steal a base? Alex very capable of throwing him out. Look at that guy's mouth wide open.
Could you believe what just happened?
No, dude.
Look at it. They're going to fight over it now. Dangerous if you're not paying attention. Fortunately, they were. What did I have?
Fan for life.
Here's the 0-1. Runner goes. Pitch out. Throw is on the money. See you later.
Nice call by Brad Ausmus. And Brad has been successful in calling some pitch outs this year. Rios on the move. Sanchez gives him time. Nice easy throw down to second base by Avila, and they get the out. Perfectly done.
So they're empty now with 2 outs. Moreland sends a ground ball back up the middle. Romine crossing the bag. Inning over. No runs, 1 hit, nobody left. Is brought to you by Comerica Bank, a part of Detroit and the community since 1849. By Ram Trucks. Ram 1500 is Motor Trend's 2014 Truck of the Year and first ever back-to-back champ. And by Hellman's Mayonnaise. Bring out the best. Back here in the Motor City, as the Tigers come to the dish now here in the 4th, they'll have Avila, Castellanos, and Romine. And Detroit on top 3-2 in this game. Avila hit a rocket to the right fielder Rios in his first at bat, sent him to the wall basically. Alex had a really good road trip. Hit 318 on the trip for the Tigers. And he takes ball 1 high. Bottom 3 facing Scott Baker, who gave up 2 in the 2nd and 1 in the 3rd. The Tigers got back-to-back doubles by KINSLER and Cabrera in the 3rd to go ahead. All 4 of Avila's home runs this year have come right here in the month of May. As you look at the numbers on Baker now, after 50 total pitches, he has 30 strikes, 20 balls.
This is a count that he can't continue to pitch in. 2 balls, no strikes.
In the air to center field. Martine to his left. 1 out. Just a reminder, as you enjoy a cold one, to look forward to Miller Time later in tonight's game. It is brought to you by Miller Lite. Here's Castellanos. Singled. It was in the 2nd. First hit of the series.
He waited nicely on a breaking ball in his first plate appearance against Baker.
Strike 1 on Nick. Here's Baker's 0-1. 1 ball, 1 strike. Baker spent parts of 5 years with the Minnesota Twins, won 15 games back in '09, his best year. And the following season, he was the Twins' opening day starter in 2010. But elbow injuries, Tommy John surgery in 2012, and now trying to find a landing spot here again in the big leagues. 2-2 on Castellanos. Here's the career timeline for Baker. We mentioned that he signed with the Mariners, but boy, in spring training he gave up a ton of runs and then was released in March. Also spent some time with the Cubs and missed up and in. 3-2 on Nick.
Although guys come back from Tommy John surgery in a year, and generally speaking, it's not to that second year after the surgery till you really regain all of your strength back and your confidence to let the baseball just go.
High towering fly ball right center field. Martine going back, still going back to the wall to make the catch.
That is the deepest part of this ballpark, and Castellanos nearly hit one out of here to right center field, the deepest part of that area, I should say. That's a homer in most ballparks in this league. Tigers have had a pretty good approach today against Baker. KINSLER, he went the other way. Miggy went the other way.
Just missed it.
Get back in the weight room, son.
He nearly hit it 450 feet.
A couple more push-ups tonight.
Ball outside to ROMINE. Reaching on an air by ANDRUS back in the second. Flared in the air to left field. That'll be playable for Chu. And for Baker, it's going to be a 1-2-3 inning. 3 fly ball outs. Let's go to the 5th. Detroit is brought to you by the Sam Bernstein Law Firm, official legal services sponsor of Fox Sports Detroit, and by the new Chevy Silverado light duty and heavy duty lineup. Back here at Comerica Park, another nice gathering here tonight. The Tigers and Rangers square off in game 2, and the Tigers, after falling behind 2-0, now lead by a run. On our way to the 5th inning, and Anibal Sanchez back to the hill facing Michael Choice. Choice looks at strike 1 right at the knees. Chirinos and then Odor to follow. 7, 8, 9 facing the right-hander Anibal Sanchez. 1-1 the count. Choice considered a very good prospect, the number 3 prospect in the Texas system. They say that he has raw power. He's just one of those guys that can drive the ball a long way. In fact, one year in the A's organization hit 30 homers in a minor league season. That, however, was in A ball.
A lot of these young Texas Rangers are getting an opportunity this year that they otherwise would not be getting with all the injuries that they've had to their players.
Line to center field, caught by Jackson. One out. Well, it's time now for you to tweet your photo using hashtag Detroit Fan Photo for a chance to have it shown in an upcoming game broadcast. It is brought to you by AT&T. Hashtag Detroit Fan Photo. Here's Robinson Chirinos. Chirinos has been around a long time now. By been around, we mean in the minor leagues. 12 seasons in the minor league.
Whoa.
Count them, 12. And before this year had spent a total of just 33 games in the major leagues in those 12 years. The Venezuelan native is 29 years old.
Talk about perseverance.
There's a strike, 1-2.
And Chirinos thought that the last fastball was down at 92 miles an hour. May have been, but when you're around the strike zone as much as Sanchez is around the strike zone, you're going to get the benefit of the doubt.
Checked it up high. Sanchez wanted the appeal, but he did not go. 2-2 on Robinson Chirinos. Rangers have made themselves at home here at Comerica. They've won 6 of the last 9 here in this ballpark. Swing and a miss. Avila will throw it down to first for the strikeout. That'll be the 4th of the game now for Hannibal.
It looks like Hannibal is getting on one of those rolls since giving up those back-to-back hits in the second.
So with 2 outs, here is Rougned Odor. Grounded to the second baseman KINSLER his first time up. And he looks at a strike.
Odor, one of those young players that probably should be in the minors. And getting seasoned a little bit better for the majors, but pressed into duty because of all the injuries they've had.
Chop to the first baseman, fair ball. Miggy grabs it, tags the bag for the out. It is another 1-2-3 inning for Anibal Sanchez. Tigers baseball presented by BELTRE.
game summary. Mitch Moreland, their first baseman, getting a lot of reps these days with Prince Fielder being on the disabled list, doubled in a couple of runs. Jackson quickly countered that with a 2-run home run himself. Then the Tigers took the lead on back-to-back doubles down the right field corner, one by Ian Kinsler, the other one by Miguel Cabrera, and that's where we sit right now. Tigers 3, Texas 2.
And so the Tigers have the top of the lineup coming up here against Baker. It'll be Davis, Kinsler, Cabrera. Rajay pops the first one up, foul, back out of play. Davis in this game was singled and a ground out. I don't know about you, Rob, but I kind of like this dynamic at the top of Davis and Kinsler, 1 and 2.
They put a lot of pressure on the opposition. The pitchers are always preoccupied with them being on the base paths, which means that divides the attention between the base runner and a lot of times Miguel Cabrera.
Look at that off the glove of a diving Beltre. Rajay wide turn very aggressively, but he'll turn back.
I love the way that Rajay plays the game. That's the way that you round the bag on a base hit. Beltre, their third baseman, playing in rather close, and he almost got undressed by Rajay Davis. And then Davis with a very aggressive turn around first, putting pressure on Chu to make the play in the outfield. An absolute missile, but watch how he aggressively rounds the bag. You kids at home, you make that outfielder stop you.
Second hit of the ball game for Davis, who had a big April but was cooling down here in the month of May.
He was picked off by the catcher and Chirinos in the first inning after a single. But Davis said one of the things that has led to him being such an efficient base runner is the fact that he's not afraid of anybody.
Grounded fair inside the bag. Down the line. Davis scooting to third. They're going to send him home. Rajay will score. Ian Kinsler gets it done again. It's another double. 4-2 Tigers.
Ian Kinsler now leads the American League in multi-hit games with 20. He doubled in the right field corner last time up. This time he goes down in the left field corner. Davis running from first base with tremendous speed. Sent home by Dave Clark, the third base coach.
So now here is Cabrera. Not going to hit. They're going to walk him intentionally with first base open.
Now this is something.
Pick your poison.
You're walking the game's best hitter as we speak to get to Victor Martinez, who is leading the American League in hitting. Did you see Miggy turn around and smile at Victor? Did you see him?
As if to say, all right, big fella.
What are they doing? Ron Washington has told me on many, many occasions over the course of the last number of years that whenever he gets an opportunity, whenever there's an open base, when Miguel Cabrera is swinging the bat, I will walk him. And that's exactly what he chooses to do right here. Miggy has not gotten many intentional free passes this year.
Bring Mike Maddox out. Have another little chat here with Baker as Martinez is due up here. Nobody out, a run in. Hand on the shoulder. There he goes again. Two straight hits and then the intentional walk. 3 straight base runners have reached here in the 5th inning for the Tigers.
But the one thing that, that Ron Washington is playing for here, and the reason why he occupied first base with Miguel via the intentional base on balls, he's hoping Victor hits something on the ground where his team can turn a double play. He's trying to give his team the best opportunity to get out of the inning, despite the fact that Victor Martinez has had a really good year so far.
So Victor now has been announced. Walked, scored a run back in the 2nd and bounced out his last time up. And that is in for a strike. 0-1. Just talking to Omar Vizquel before the game about trying to turn a double play with this type of infield alignment when you have 3 defenders to the right of second base. He said the most difficult thing is that it's not a natural throw to second base, not a natural angle that you would get from your shortstop. So it becomes a little bit more difficult, but they work on those throws in these types of situations. The 0-1 is up and in. 1 ball, 1 strike.
Victor has grounded into 7 double plays already this year, which is the most on the Tigers team.
And that's what Ron Washington is hoping for here. That is rocketed foul back in his seats.
Victor makes adjustments as well as any hitter in the big leagues. First 2 pitches to him inside by Baker. So Victor treated with that front hip, and he turned on that fastball, but he hit it foul. But he was looking for this pitch in here. Watch the hips here, how they clear out of the way.
Alexi Ogando warming up in the Texas bullpen. 1-2 the count on Victor Martinez. Tigers already have 7 hits in this contest. Sanchez has allowed 4. It's been all Tigers since getting down in this ball game 2-0. Baker now at 70 pitches in the game. Kinsler, Cabrera. 2 more doubles tonight for Ian Kinsler. Drilled to right field. Rios. Kinsler will tag, and he will move to third base. Another hard hit ball. That one was straight at Rios.
We're going to make that our bell tower pitch by pitch. First pitch fastball in for a strike. He stayed in there aggressively against Victor, so Victor started looking inside. Then after 1 pitch away, he tried to go right back inside, and Victor able to do his job by hitting a liner to right field, which is able to get Kinsler over to third with just 1 out.
Torrey Hunter was up in this situation last time. Runner at third, less than 2 outs, and he flied out to left.
Baker not fooling many Tigers here this evening.
Well, the Jackson ball went out. The Avila ball to the wall in right field. That one was smoked. Swing and a miss, 0-1.
Nice little breaking ball there thrown by Baker. T. Hunter looking for the first pitch fastball, was very aggressive and swung right over the top of it. Now you've got to shorten up to make sure that you do your job by lofting a fly ball deep enough to the outfield to score Ian Kinsler.
One ball, 1 strike. Baker's last win in the big leagues was in July of 2011. It's been that long. Of course, we mentioned the Tommy John, which forced him to miss over a year, and that win was against the Tigers. Little chopper back up the middle. Andrus on the charge, shovels back for 1. Relay! 9 time. They almost turned 2 on that.
And when that ball left Torrey Hunter's bat, I did not think that their middle infielders had an opportunity to turn that over, but a really nice quick flip by Andrus to Odor. And look how quickly Odor gets the ball out of his glove and on its way to first base.
Runner bearing down on him as well, and Torrey beats it out for an RBI. '25th RBI of the year. 5-2 is our score. going on? Something wrong with Chirinos, the catcher? He was lost his balance a little bit. And the home plate umpire, Ed Hickox, had to help him up.
Close play at first base, but apparently Torrey Hunter got there safely, and that's why Ron Washington did not come out of the dugout to challenge the call.
Jackson hit a 2-run shot back in the second, flied out in the third. Check swing roller toward third. Beltre will make the play. A little stutter step as he throws to first. Tigers, however, had a couple more runs.
Highlights of being over on the third base side is getting to watch Dave Clark do his signals. I mean, this guy is working in and out throughout the entire game, and he's had a long day, to say the least. He also was on a guest panel this afternoon along with Darnell Coles and also R. Rod Allen and Craig Monroe. They hosted 175 high school baseball players and talked to them about how to encourage them to get involved in the game, not only being a player, but also maybe being a color analyst or a coach or the aspect of being a player. I love that the bottom line and the best message that they gave them is only 1% maybe make it here, but believe in your dreams and fight for them, and you too can find a way to stay in the game. And guys, I say that's one of the reasons I chose this profession. It's because this is the closest thing to being back out on the field. And Rod, I have to ask, what did you think of the luncheon today?
Oh, it was a fabulous time. All of us come from different backgrounds, some high school, and some of us have gone to college. But just to talk to the young kids about some of the things that we went through as youngsters to get to the level that we have gotten to was very valuable. So I had a great time today at the luncheon.
See any prospects there today, Rod?
Well, I don't know if they're prospects or not, but I saw some size. And you know what they say about size.
You can't teach
size.
5-2 Tigers have the lead as we go to the sixth inning. Leonis Martin leading it off. And a ball low runs the count to 2-2 on Martin. Andrus and then Chu to follow.
I think more importantly, the kids get a chance to see that, you know, some of us didn't have the easiest route to get to the big leagues, and some of us didn't spend as much time in the big leagues as we'd like to spend there, but yet we've been able to parlay that into a really good job staying in a great system in baseball.
All right, let's go to the studio now. We'll check in with Trevor Thompson for a game break. All right, Trev, thanks. The Giambino was activated when the Tigers were in Cleveland.
Cleveland has now won 4 games in a row. Tigers got them hot.
And they're 6.5 back all of a sudden. When the Tigers rolled into town, what were they? They were 10.5 out.
Correct.
And 6.5 out now, yeah. 10 minus 4 would be 6.5. Yeah. See how I did that?
Yep.
5-2, Tigers have the lead as Andrus steps in here with 1 out.
That's why it pays to go to college.
That's right. Just the message that you were delivering today, right? 1-2 the count on Andrew.
I did tell those kids that because I didn't go to college. I mean, I signed out of high school, and you know, it's always hard when you sign out of high school because if you don't make it to the big leagues, you don't usually have much to fall back on.
So you felt maybe a little bit more pressure?
No question about that.
Sanchez has gotten Andrus twice, strikeout and a ground out. And a bouncing ball to second. This will be routine for KINSLER.
And Hannibal Sanchez is a straight dealing right now. Tigers bullpen has been battered the last number of days, and Sanchez is doing exactly what Brad Ausmus and Jeff Jones, the pitching coach, was hoping he'd be able to do here this evening against Texas. That's get deep into this game, get the ball to Chamberlain, and get the ball to Joe Nathan.
13 of 14 now retired by the right-hander Sanchez. Shin-Soo Choo will step in. Ball 1 low. Choo 0 for 2. Ground out, strikeout. And now 1 for 5 in the series. One and one.
Hannibal Sanchez getting a lot of swings and misses, which gives you an indication of just how good his stuff is.
Choo hit a homer in the ball game yesterday. And he takes a strike, 2-2.
Sanchez has got that pragmatic swing back fastball working to perfection today. He starts it right at the hip of the left-handed batter. They give up on that pitch. They jackknife out of the way, only to watch Ed Hickox call it for a strike.
Ooh, right back off the glove of Sanchez. Going to roll to KINSLER. That'll be a 1-4-3, and it'll be a 1-2-3 6th inning. Tonight 5-2 in favor of the Tigers. We go to the bottom of the 6th inning as promised earlier in the game. We have the AT&T fan photo of the game. Tweet your photo to hashtag Detroit fan photo for a chance to be shown in an upcoming game broadcast. It is brought to you by AT&T. It'll be Alex Avila to start things off here. It'll be the 7, 8, 9 hitters facing the right-hander Scott Baker. We're at the bottom of the 6th. Tigers fell behind 2-0. Now lead 5-2. Avila takes a strike. Alex is 0 for 2. Couple of fly balls. One was actually more of a line drive that sent Rios just about to the wall in right field. Here's the 0-1. Bouncing ball foul, first base side. 0-2, the count stays on Avila. Batting .235. Alex working up here in the month of May. Sits safely in 5 of his last 6 contests. And it looks like Alexi Ogando is still warming in the bullpen for Texas. Pulled foul.
4 straight off-speed pitches and thrown in this pitch sequence from Baker to Avila. And Baker, when he threw a little harder, when he would get himself in these particular counts, no balls and 2 strikes, he would elevate at least one fastball to see if he could get the Tigers hitters to chase it. He doesn't pitch that way anymore. Although he tried it there.
We're talking about all the injuries the Rangers have had. How about this? Baker is the 10th different starting pitcher used by Texas this year.
Already.
And it's, yeah, I mean, we're not even to June. And they've used 10 guys.
Tigers only needed 6. Count that. 6 starting pitchers all of last year.
Swing and a miss, and Avila goes down. 1 out here in the 6th. The other thing is that the Rangers, when you talk about using your entire roster, how about this? 39 players used this season, which is the most in the majors.
Looks like the Yankees and Blue Jays have also had their issues staying healthy.
That strikeout was the first of the game for Baker. Castellanos will stand in. And he hits a ground ball left side deep in the hole. Andrus. Jump stop throw is in time for the out.
That's a real nice play by Elvis Andrus, and you could tell by the way that he circled this ball and he took the backhand. He anticipated he was going to have to jump up off that left foot, turn the body in the air to get the out at first base, and he did it perfectly. Real nice athletic play by Elvis.
Two up, 2 down. Here's Romine. Yanked down the right field line. That ball is hooking, and it's off the foul pole and gone. Romine with a line drive home run off the foul pole. First of the year for Andrew.
That's his first career homer. Look how happy his teammates are for him.
Romine was 0 for his previous 22.
Was he?
And that will bring that string to a crashing halt. A line drive home run off the foul pole to give the Tigers a 6-2 lead. And a big smile on Andrew's face. Rajai Davis slaps one back out of play.
We told you just a couple of innings ago, if you weren't with us, that Baker, and because he likes to elevate the fastball so often, he gives up lots of gopher balls. That's the second homer he's given up tonight.
Yeah, the other was Austin Jackson, who hit one the other way into the seats and left beyond the bullpen. Here's the 0-2, and it's popped up. Shallow right field. Odor to the grass. And that'll be it for the Tigers, but they get another run. First big league homer for Andrew Romine, who gets a big hug as well. 6-2 Detroit. Major League home runs. 6-2 is our score now as we go to the 7th inning. Mario and Rod back here at the ballpark. We are glad you are with us here tonight. It's a much better night here at the yard, especially with Sanchez, the way he's pitching.
It's all about starting pitching. Yeah. Tigers had a little mini losing streak there of 4 games, but their starting pitching wasn't very good today. Sanchez has been nails, and different story for the Tigers so far.
And so the offense as well, Rod, has come alive here. They certainly struggled in the ball game yesterday, but Jackson got him going with that leadoff home run, the top of the order, doing the job.
You know, Miguel Cabrera is such a pro. Jackson did hit a big home run, but Miguel Cabrera, for me, key to them scoring first when he followed Kinsler's double with a double the opposite way, simply trying to move him over to third base. I mean, this guy's the best hitter on the planet, but his baseball IQ is simply off the charts, and he knows how to play the game. A lot of what he does goes unnoticed because of so much that he does that you do notice about him when he's swinging that stick.
Well, I think part of that is as well that we get to see him play every day, and those that don't get to see him play every day may not really pick up on that, but he is quite a player. And Cabrera does what he can to win a ball game every single night. Miggy tonight with a double. Intentional walk. He has an RBI. Stroke to center field. That'll drop in a base hit. So BELTRE was down in the count 1-2 and singles here in the 7th. Saturday is a full day of action, beginning with your Detroit Tigers taking on these Rangers on Fox Sports 1. Then it's the season premiere of Baseball Night in America on Fox Sports as the Cardinals battle the Reds. Royals square off against the Angels. Nats taking on the Pirates. Our Major League doubleheader begins Saturday at 3:30 Eastern on Fox Sports 1 and continues at 7 p.m. Eastern on Fox. Alex Rios, the batter. He has had a night. He has had a series. He's got 4 hits already, including a couple of doubles. And Rios now has hit safely in 6 in a row. Driven foul down the right field line.
Looks like another packed house here in downtown Detroit at Comerica Park. How about the fans here yesterday on the Thursday afternoon game?
It was really a sight to behold. We had 40,786 in the yard yesterday.
That's close to a sellout.
We'll be in that range again here tonight. Waiting on deck, Mitch Moreland. Wood now chase up high, 1-2 on Rios.
That's a good pitch there by Sanchez, though. The first couple of pitches to Rios were down in the strike zone, so he went upstairs with one fastball firm at 92 to see if he can get a swing and miss by changing the eye level of Rios. That's something that Sanchez does very well.
Did it again. This time Rios one more time lays off 2-2.
But now he's got 3 other pitches he can get you out with. He can go with the changeup or he can go with the slider to get a swing and miss. I don't think he's going to throw another one of those slow curveballs that BELTRE just singled sharply up the middle on.
Pulled foul.
Xfinity is telling us that the top fastball thrown so far tonight by Anibal Sanchez, 94 miles an hour. And 72, that was that last breaking ball that BELTRE got a single on. So that occurred just a couple of pitches ago.
Another fastball up. We're on the count full, 3-2.
Do not think that Ron Washington will be running BELTRE from first base, trailing by 4 on the 3-2 count with nobody out.
Chopper to the shortstop. Romine to KINSLER. On for a double play. 6-4-3. 2 gone here in the 7th.
Taylor made a nice job there by Romine. Underhand feed to KINSLER. Plenty of time to turn it over despite the speed of Alex Rios. 50th double play turned by the Tigers defenders this year, which ranks 4th in the majors.
Strike 1 to Moreland. 2-run double back in the 2nd is all of their offense so far. And it's been all Tigers since. 6 unanswered runs for the Detroit offense. I mentioned Sanchez threw 80 pitches in his last start, the first start off the disabled list. He's up to 92 right now.
This very well could be his last inning. But he has left the team in really good shape today. And once he records this next out.
2-1. And the 2-1. That floats in for a strike. 71 miles an hour.
Change piece.
Sanchez at one point retiring 14 of 15 prior to the leadoff single here by BELTRE.
It appears that he gets on one of those types of rolls at least one time during the course of the contest where he will retire 10, 12, 13 of the opposing hitters in a row.
Yeah, I mean, every single start it seems like that. He's done it again here tonight. He has shut the door after the 2-run 2nd. Popped up foul back out of play.
When you have 4 above average pitches, as Sanchez usually does on most nights, even if one of the pitches isn't working for you, you still have 3 other ones to help you get through any given game. No doubt Brad and Jeff talking about whether they will send him back out again, looking at his pitch count.
Moreland hanging tough here. Tigers have 8 hits tonight, 5 for the visiting Rangers. This will be the 8th pitch of this at bat coming up. Here it is. Little chopper towards second. Charging is KINSLER. That'll do it for the Rangers. No runs and a hit. Nobody left. Time to stretch.
John's freaky fast delivery of the game. Anibal Sanchez making his second start since coming off the disabled list, and he was on one tonight. The Texas Rangers' hot offense last night slowed down tonight by Anibal Sanchez, who captured the ERA crown last year. Good changeups, good sliders, good curveballs, and he's done for the night after pitching 7 really good innings.
Really good indeed, and he will leave with a 6-2 lead. The Rangers have gone to the bullpen. So Baker is done. It's a wall side windows pitching change. Here's Alexi Ogando.
Ogando is not pitching good baseball these years, but the Tigers have seen him in the past, and he's been a thorn in their side. But a 6.86 ERA, 17 strikeouts. He's walked 11, and he's given up a better than 400 batting average in his last 10 games.
Gee. He has been bothered by shoulder inflammation much of last year. Appeared in 23 games for Texas last season. KINSLER is leading it off. And Ian looks at a ball outside. 1-1.
Ogando has a fastball that will top out at 97 miles an hour, but his average heater is right around 94. He's got a slider, also a changeup. Lots of changeups to left-handed batters, not so much to the righties. He likes the slider for the righties.
Huge swing there by KINSLER. Big night for Ian. Couple of doubles against his former team.
20th multi-hit game already for the new Tiger, Ian KINSLER.
Most of the American League. Ogando ready with the 1-2. Bouncing ball foul. Action in the Detroit bullpen features Al Albuquerque.
You mean Everyday Al?
Everyday Al. He's been that way this year. Who was the Minnesota Twin reliever they used to call Everyday?
Guardado.
Oh, Everyday Eddie Guardado.
Yep.
Ogando's been out there quite a bit this year as well. He is 7th in the league in appearances now with 24. Pulled down the left field line. Foul.
Nice catch.
No kidding.
I see you, big fella.
Oh, he's getting his own replay. Look at that. And the woman behind him is saying thank you.
No question.
Good job. His night is made. To right field, slicing Rios on the move. Not going to get it. Another hit. Kinsler tried for another double, and he's going to get it. Third double of the night for Ian Kinsler.
What a great at bat by Kinsler. Ogando able to get ahead of him. 1 ball, 2 strikes. Ian fouled off a couple of really good pitchers' pitches before finally getting something that he can handle, letting that ball get deep in the strike zone and hitting it down in the right field corner for his 3rd hit of the day.
Going to bring up Cabrera now with nobody out here in the 7th. Miggy doubled in a run in the 3rd. Shoots that one in the air, foul. So Cabrera now has 3 hits in the series. He has 42 RBIs on the season. And he just continues to climb all of the offensive categories, especially with the month of May that he's had 385 this month coming in tonight. They walked him intentionally in this same spot back in the 5th inning. Drives one on a line to right field. Rios. Runner tagging. Kinsler will move up. Another hard hit ball tonight for the Tigers offense.
He did his job again, and nobody on, nobody out, runner on second base. Miguel knows he has a job to do, and he just continues to do the job. And by getting Kinsler to 3rd for Victor Martinez. Victor might get walked intentionally here. Great concentration by Miggy.
Martinez 0 for 2.
Yep, gonna get a free pass. He'll be leading the league in a minute.
Fielder, who is out of commission for the rest of the year, 11 intentional walks, leads the league. Victor now will pick up his 10th. That's going to leave runners at 1st and 3rd. And bring up Torrey Hunter. Ogando gets a visit from Chirinos. Tigers box score tonight, a whole lot of production at the top of the lineup. Davis a couple of hits. Ian now 3 hits. Hunter drove one in with a ground ball this last time up. Former teammates sharing a laugh at 3rd. Kinsler and Beltre. Torrey now has a chance to get another RBI. Swing and a miss. Ogando had that big year back in 2011. He won 13 games. That was after the 2010 season where he made 44 appearances out of the bullpen, and he was lights out that year. A 1.30 ERA pitching out of the pen for Texas. 1-2. Checked it. They'll give him the appeal, but he did not go, says Lance Barrett. Here's the 2-2. Low, 3 balls, 2 strikes. Jackson waiting on deck.
Not all bad here, because you have a 4-run lead. If you're Brad Ausmus and you want to get Victor Martinez a head start on this next pitch to Austin Jackson, to Torrey Hunter.
Now Torrey steps out. 6-9-0 for Detroit, 2-5-1 for Texas. Runner holding and a bouncing ball left side of the infield. Beltre in the bare hand throws to first, fully out.
Great jump from third base by Ian Kinsler coming on contact. Therefore, Beltre, the only play he had was to go to first base.
Kinsler scores his 3rd run of the night.
Ian coming on contact, got a good break. Because you're taught on that play right there, if you are the third baseman with a runner on third, less than 2 outs, if he takes off, because that ball is to your right, you go home with it. But Ian got such a good jump. There was no play at home.
Second RBI tonight for Hunter. 7-2 in favor of the Tigers, and here is Jackson. Ball 1. 2-run shot for Jackson in the second. He has a fly ball and a ground out his other 2 at bats. Rolled foul. 1 ball, 1 strike.
Here is our Nissan drive of the game, and it came back in the second inning. Tigers were trailing by 2, and it was a ball up in the strike zone thrown by Baker. Jackson had great numbers against Scott Baker, their starter, and he hit it out to tie the score.
Here's the 1-1. And it's a strike in the outer edge, 1-2.
He's your pick for McDonald's tonight. How's he looking?
Well, we've got some company because Kinsler's got 3 hits and 3 runs scored.
Nobody picked him today, though. So he's out of the running.
Good point.
So I think my guy Sanchez might be the next guy to get it.
Yeah. He might have to be first. Let's see if Jackson can drive in another run here and put me back in the lead. 2-2. Nobody picked Ian Kinsler, and tonight for Ian, 3 hits, 3 runs scored, all doubles.
I'll have a conversation with him tomorrow, and then I'll see whether I want to pick him on Sunday.
Okay, let us know how it goes. The 2-2. Bouncing ball right side. Get through. It will. Come on, score. Here's the throw to the plate. And he's going to be outstanding. Well, Victor, we try to get you to score. That'll do it for the Tigers. They had another run, though. Ian Kinsler starts it off with a double. Tigers now lead 7-2. Outstanding night for Anibal Sanchez tonight. His evening is over, but he will leave with a 7-2 lead. The Tigers had 10 hits in this ball game tonight. And the Tigers now will turn the baseball over to Al Albuquerque. And he will face the bottom three, Choice, Chirinos, and Odor. Fastball in there for a strike as we check out the numbers in the wall side windows pitching change.
Already the 25th game this season for Albuquerque, which is tied for second among American League relievers, and that's why we're calling him these days Everyday Al.
Line out, ground out for Michael Choice. The 0-2 is high. 1 ball, 2 strikes. 7 innings for Sanchez, and he gives up just the 2 runs. And Sanchez's career in 3 starts coming in against Texas had an ERA of nearly 10.
Whoa.
So apparently those numbers meant nothing tonight because Anibal was on a roll. One and 2 on Michael Choice. Slider, but he did bite. He went around. Got him on strikes. One gone now for Robinson Chirinos. Rangers have 5 hits in this game. 3 of them gained consecutively in the 2nd inning, and only 2 after that. Here's a soft ground ball back up the middle. KINSLER throws it in. 2 up, 2 down. The Tigers did make a move before the game today. Corey Knebel was called up from Toledo. Robbie Ray optioned, and so Knebel met with the media before the game today, and he just seems so excited to be here.
Not only does he seem excited, but he seems like he's got a lot of swag, a lot of confidence.
A 0.95 ERA in the minors this year.
Why wouldn't you have a lot of confidence with those numbers? We kind of anticipated that Dave Dombrowski would make a move after last night's game. I mean, you didn't necessarily know what Sanchez was going to give you here today, although you anticipated he would give you a really good game as Odor singles sharply right back up the middle. But they had to protect themselves with a move for the bullpen.
And Knebel, I guess, was the next in line just based on how dominant he was in the minor leagues.
We saw him in spring training a couple of times, and we started to hear whispers toward the tail end of spring. Watch for this guy. I mean, he's not really on the radar right now, but he started in Double-A. He kind of mastered that. They sent him to Triple-A, anticipating that they were going to give him an opportunity to come to the big leagues.
Well, not only that, but Brad Ausmus actually said that they considered taking him north. They gave it solid consideration, but they decided against it coming out of spring camp.
That's why they were looking at him so much.
There you go. There's Corey. Eagerly anticipating his first major league appearance since his family is in town. He's got his parents here, his fiance here.
This will be a real good game to let him get his feet wet.
Outside.
Friday night, packed house, 5-run lead.
Ian Kroll is warming up in the Detroit bullpen. Wave and a miss. Leonis Martin batting here with 2 outs in the 8th. And it's pulled foul again down the first base line.
You got to get that slider down around the back foot of Martine. If you're able to do that, you can get a swing and miss and get a strikeout. It will be Al's second strikeout of the inning. Albuquerque's just done a marvelous job this year of throwing strikes. He had command issues last year, but not this season.
Just got a piece of that one to stay alive.
To get it down a little bit lower.
Albuquerque now with 24 strikeouts in 19 2/3 innings. The 1-2. Got him, strike 3.
Make that 25.
Inning over. Albuquerque strikes out a pair here in the top of the 8th inning. And as we go to the bottom of the 8th, Andrew Romine hit his first big league homer in his last at bat. He'll be hitting 3rd. Lead as we go to the bottom of the 8th inning tonight at Comerica. Alexio Gondo back out there for Texas. And for the Tigers, it'll be the bottom 3 of Vila, Castellanos, and Romine. Gondo came on in the 7th inning, gave up a run. He'll go back to work here in the 8th. And Avila checks his swing, strike 1. One ball, one strike on Avila. Albuquerque a scoreless 8th, including a couple of strikeouts. After Sanchez went 7 really good innings. Swing and a miss, 1-2. Avila tonight is 0 for 3. A couple of fly balls and a strikeout. Now the 1-2. Swing and a miss. Gondo has a strikeout. And right now we check in with Lindsay Hayes for the preview of tonight's Tigers Live.
Hi, guys. Coming up on Tigers Live, first of all, the fans are fired up over on the third base side. They really love Andrew Romine's home run, and we're going to talk ballpark. Also, Brad Osmus has to be happy with Anibal Sanchez's outing tonight, so we'll have all the details of that, and our Matt Shepard and Craig Monroe are going to break down all the action of this one. Let's hope now that the Tigers can hold on to the lead here. For now, guys, we'll send it back to you.
All right, Lindsay, thanks. Yeah, it's 7-2 right now. Tigers have a 5-run lead as Castellanos steps in. And Nick in the ball game tonight, 1 for 3. Tigers trying to snap a 4-game losing streak with a victory here tonight. Here's the 1-0. 2-0 the count on Castellanos. Rangers will have 2, 3, and 4 coming up. Hey, there's Corey Knebel. He is up in the bullpen now, but it's Kroll that has been throwing. Here is Ogando's 2-0. 2-1 now on Castellanos. There's action as well. The left-hander Pareto warming up for the Rangers. Fouled away. 2 balls, 2 strikes on Nick. Baker started and lasted a total of 6 in this game. Ogando came on in the 7th for Texas. Another foul back to the screen. Rangers had lost 15 of their last 23 coming into play in this one tonight. And they jumped out to an early 2-0 lead. They were looking good, but the Tigers answered quickly with 2 in the bottom of the 2nd and have not looked back. They lead 7-2. Three and 2. Romine waiting on deck. Miggy had an RBI double in this ball game tonight. Kinsler's had 3 hits. Torrey's driven in 2. In the air to shallow center field. Martine coming in.
Let's take a look at the big boys' big play of the game. Andrew Romine stepped to the plate in the 6th inning, and he took the first pitch from Scott Baker and hit it right off the foul pole for his first career home run. Snapped it 0 for 22.
3rd RBI of the season as well. He'll bat here with 2 outs, nobody on. And a bouncing ball to second. Odor has it there. And it's going to be a 1-2-3 inning for Ogando, and we go to the 9th. as we go to the top of the 9th inning. 3 more outs to get for the Tigers. And Thursday, June 5th, Tigers face the Toronto Blue Jays at 108. The first 15,000 fans receive a Max Scherzer 2013 Cy Young Award bobblehead. For tickets, call 866-66-TIGER or visit tigers.com.
Oh, brown eye.
There's the real Max. Heterochromia.
They nailed that bobblehead, didn't they?
It does look really good. Here is Ian Kroll now. He will take over for Detroit.
Kroll's done nice work out of that Tigers bullpen. First extended work at the major league level. 21 games, 8 holds, 1.62 ERA, throwing nothing but strikes. 10 strikeouts. He's only walked 1 batter this year. There's nothing better than a guy that trots out of that bullpen late that throws nothing but strikes.
And he'll face Andrus, Chu, and Beltre, 2, 3, and 4 here in the 9th inning. And the first one is up high, 1-0. Andrus is 0 for 3, a couple of ground balls and a strikeout. All 3 of those at bats against the starter, Anibal Sanchez. Elvis has also committed an error in the ballgame tonight. And he looks at a ball low. 2-1 on Andrus. Rick Porcello and Nick Martinez tomorrow in game 3 in the series. And Verlander, Colby Lewis on Sunday.
It's another reason why the outing by Anibal Sanchez was very important here today, going 7 innings. Porcello has been dealing with a little bit of soreness in his left side. Obviously, he's good to go, but once he gets out there and the adrenaline starts to pick up, you just don't know if it's 100% or not.
Here's the 3-2. Walked him. Fox Sports Supports is proud to recognize the Army's Gold Star Pin campaign, which honors the families of fallen service members. To learn more, visit goldstarpins.org. Here is Shin-Soo Choo. Choo in the ball game, 0 for 3. Strike called. And bends in for a strike.
Nice front door breaking ball there thrown by Ian Kroll.
Chu would not chase. Fastball up right at about the letters. 1-2. Jabba Chamberlain. Corey Knebel. That's going to be a base hit to left field. He sliced one the other way. Andrus wide turn, but he will pull back. And now the Rangers have runners at first and second, nobody out.
That's a fastball that was inside to Chu, but he was able to fight it off and muscle it down that third baseline past Castellanos, who was playing well off the line at third.
So here is Beltre, who's had another pretty good night. Couple of singles. He has scored a run. And Jeff Jones coming out. So Kroll walked the leadoff man, and then he gave up a single. Tigers took command of this game after the Jackson home run tied it by getting a run in the third. RBI double by Cabrera, then they added 2 more in the 5th. Romine is also homered tonight. Tigers could use a ground ball right here. And it's in there for a strike. 0-1. 279 now for BELTRE. 3 hits in the series. That's it for a strike. 1-2. Down goes BELTRE. Big strikeout there for Kroll. That is the first out of the inning.
When you throw that breaking ball to the right-handed batter, this is exactly where you want to bury it. You want to bury it right around that back foot. You disguise it high. BELTRE sees it up, and all of a sudden he starts his swing, and it ends up on the ground.
Rios hit into a double play in his last at bat.
Well, he might as well hit into another one.
He also has a single and a double in this game.
I think there's fireworks after this game tonight. First time of the year.
39,000 plus in attendance here to watch postgame fireworks. 39,835. Strike called on the outer edge. 2-1 now on Rios. Walking a single to start the inning. Now the 2-1. Bouncing ball right side. Cabrera spins to second. There's one. Relay. That's going to be a double play to end the ball game.
Hello, darling.
What a turn by the Tigers. 3-6-1. To end the ball game, and the Tigers end their 4-game losing streak. Jackson with a homer tonight. After the Tigers had fallen behind 2-0. Ian Kroll finishes it off.
Nice job here by Kroll. Getting over to that bag, and if it's Romine, you got to lead him perfectly, and he gets his left foot on the bag before Rios gets there. But he had to take off right away, and he did that. That's a great job.
So the Tigers win it for the first time in 5 games. The winning streak, or the losing streak I should say, is over. They have started a new winning streak with an impressive win here tonight against the Texas Rangers. 7-2 your final. We'll be back.